Hello everybody! Yeah, after doing an unboxing video for the most recent Golden Core albums, reissues on vinyl and CD, I had fun doing videos for you again. And yeah, I needed a break anyway from writing reviews and other stuff for Breakout magazine, because there's a deadline next week. So when you're sitting in front of your computer the whole day, after a while it's time for a beer, and so I thought, why not drinking it with you and talking a little bit about one of my favorite compilation series from the 80s called Metal Massacre, or the Day Zero of Metal Blade Records, and yet Day Zero for various bands that you all know. So the beer I drink today, I go on and try to find beers I've never seen before. Here's one I got at a supermarket here in Germany I never was in before, called Globus. They had a huge, they have a huge variety of strange beers. This is La Trappe or La Trappe. Trappist blonde. So I guess it must be from Belgium or from France. Maybe some of you know this beer. And the bad thing when you stop smoking, which I did now more than over a year ago, is that you don't have lighters anymore in your house. So I need these things really bad. Okay, I could do that here, but I wouldn't do that. But yeah, that's weird. So let's open that. Hello, cat. And try, and then let's go over to Metal Massacre. Metal Massacre. Massacre or Massacre? I think it depends on where you live in the USA or in Great Britain. It's definitely definitely not a German beer. It can't be, but that does not mean that it's bad. Yeah, I had great beers in foreign countries, and so I like it. It's it's a weird mix of sweet and bitter. It's a mix of an export and an IPA or something. It's not bad. It's interesting. Let's say it that way. Okay, Metal Massacre. You all know this famous, glorious first Metal Massacre that I have here. It looks a little different than in the photos you have seen from this album. Maybe even some of you have the original version at home. This is a Canadian license pressing with a different tracklist, and Metallica was written right. Yes, Metallica had their first public recording on Metal Massacre. Okay, they had this demo tapes, one was No Life to Leather and all that, but yeah, on a vinyl, on an album, this was the first time for Metallica being on an album that was at least distributed back then and became famous years later, not just for being such a great heavy metal compilation that early, but also for the birth of Metal Blade Records. Brian Slagel, who did a fanzine called the New Heavy Metal Review, we would say here in Germany, Revue, and he worked in a record store. So combining all this, he had this idea to bring together some of the more or less local bands of the LA area and feature them on a vinyl along to promote his fanzine, which was a great idea, and finally it became Metal Massacre. And this first one, I just got that first one. I have it on CD since ages, and again, it's you heard that story from me all the time. The older friend when I was a teenager who had that original one too, because he ran a fanzine, which I still have no clue what the name of it was. I think I have this guy on Facebook still. We lost contact some years back. People change, so you can't. It is what it is. So this one I got recently, I think last week even, and I paid a good amount of money but not these crazy $400, $500 that you have to pay for the first pressing on metal plate. Yeah, we have black and blue on this here, and I think it was Steele with the band that later became famous for having Yngwie Malmsteen in the band, that were on that. I think this was changed, and I think even the song Hit the Lights from Metallica, I need to check it out again. Might have been another version or something. I think there was at least something going on, except of the fact that Metallica was written wrong on the first with 2 T's, and here's it correct. Yeah, beside that we have Live for the Whip from Beach, and I love that song. One of the few bands that appeared 2 times. The other was, I think, Warlord appeared 2 times on Metal Massacre. Malice, this is when I still loved Malice. They had on this album twice. Captive of Light is a great track. I wish they would sound like that on their debut album that everybody loves except of me. I tried. I have it here. I have it on CD. I tried. Same with License to Kill. It doesn't work for me. But I love this early stuff here, which is on Metal Massacre. And even Ratt, not my kind of metal. For some reason I love the song Round and Round from that Out of the Cellar album, which of course was a huge hard rock album for that time. But, I don't need it. Even this year, Tell the World is a cool and rough sounding song. And the most weird song, I still have not much information, I have no information at all, about a band called Avatar, who of course were not Savatage. It's a song called Octave, and it's an instrumental, and even I'm a musician, and I need to say, I have no clue if is it total bullshit or is it genius. I can't say. Fact is that I love it. It's the most obscure track on this first Metal Massacre, and I'm pretty sure that Cirith Ungol, who are opening side 2 of that vinyl with Death of the Sun, which we all know from their second album King of the Dead, if this must have sounded weird to the people back in, I think, 82 or 83. I need to check that out again. No, my reading glass is not on, but I think it's 82. It must have been a shock to hear that voice and everything back in those days. Demon Flight is another band that they only had a 12-inch with 2 or 3 tracks. It must be here somewhere too. And Dead of the Night, I love that track. It's a little bit like doom metal, Merciful Fate. And I heard that Brian Slagel was involved, at least for some lyrics or playing something. And then we have Pandemonium, the Resch brothers. Yeah, I absolutely love their first 2 albums, and I still like the 3rd album. And I even was in contact with him some days ago. He's on Facebook, and it's cool that he's still around. And yeah, Fighting Backwards, I love that song. It's nearly as cool as the opener from the first album, The Road I'm Traveling, which I love so much. Yeah, then again, Malice with Kick You Down, and of course, in the end of this album, Hit the Lights from Metallica, still with Ron on bass and with, Dave Mustaine in the band, so it sounds like a bunch of, teenagers on speed or something. Yeah, this is. I won't talk about all of them that much, but this is. I think I even would say one of the most important metal albums of all time. No matter if you like it or not, it is for what happened after and because of that album. Yeah, I think the idea. Brian Slagel has to confirm that, but the idea for such a compilation must have come from the new wave of British heavy metal. There were so many great compilations like Metal for Mothers or Brute Force, Lead Weight, all these great compilations, and these local compilations like Southern Comfort or Scene of the Crime. This is all really cool stuff, and I think these guys from this records shop where he worked, they knew about all that stuff. So I guess this idea to start a compilation series came from being a new wave of British heavy metal friend, I'm pretty sure. If I'm wrong, maybe he will write a comment on here under this video. So here we have number 2, and I love number 1, and I'm really proud to have a kind of original copy now. This is a true original copy here on Metal Blade Records, even with some printed inlay here. It's just a piece of paper and an inlay. Yeah, you see that here. It's the old blade, which they use again as a logo, which is pretty cool. Yeah, and the more yellow sticker. I think that's also on this first EP of Armored Saint. Yeah, of course, because they open up number 2, and yeah, if I think number 2 is the one that I listen to most, especially on CD, because I have this one since a year or so, or maybe even some months, because I needed that one too. And yeah, what should I say? Armored Saint with lesson well learned, a short and great opener, a band that remained in that style, which is pretty cool. Third Stage Alert, Mind Invader, I love it. I love that whole album here. Surgical Steel, Rivet Head ends up on most of my mix CDs for my car. I just love that, and I think this was even produced by Rob Halford or something. Obsession, Shadows of Steel, Savage Grace, Scepters of Deceit starts already furious, and in the end, this singer who was in the band back then, even Mickey Mouse couldn't sing that high. Unbelievable. Then it's Overkill here, no hold barred, but it's not those Overkill, of course. Yeah, then we have the mighty Warlord here with Lucifer's Hammer, one of the heaviest tracks of the band anyway, so this fits well. There, and Cliff Burton from Metallica is on that, because Trauma is here with Such a Shame, and you can hear this, great bass going on this more or less pretty hard rocking song. What I also like is this crazy It's Alright from a band called Dietrich, or Americans might say Dietrich or something. Dietrich is a typical German last name, but also if you don't have a key and you have a piece of metal and you go into this Schloss, into the lock and try to open it with that, that's also a Dietrich. Or when you want to break into a house, you need a Dietrich. Makes that any sense for you? I can't say. Yeah, Molten Leather. Oh, Inversion. I love it. Never heard of this band before. After. Yeah, and then Hyksos, the King. This was my absolute favorite through all the years here from Metal Massacre II. And of course, not of course, but I have the original Hyksos here. I bought that when used vinyl from US metal bands were not that expensive like they are today. I think I paid around $100 or so for it. So I love that album. It's so obscure. It's unbelievable. And then we have Aloha, which of course is the band Hawaii before they were Hawaii. They were Vixen first. No, they were Vixen, they were Aloha, and they were Hawaii. I can't say in which was first, but yeah, that's my favorite one, Metal Massacre II. And yeah, and then it goes on with simply great stuff. Metal Massacre III, of course, with Slayer and Aggressive Perfector. I like that song way more than the whole debut album, Show No Mercy, I must say. I don't know why. Yeah, then we have Tyrant on that. Bitch again. Riding in Thunder, another song I really love. Medusa, that's more weird, a little test pattern. Yeah, another band. Black Widow, La Mort, Marauder, Snow White. We know these guys. Sexist. Virgin Steel, okay, we all know them. And again, Warlord with Miss Victoria, which is more epic and not that metal. So it was a strange choice, a little, I would say. So all in all, we have Slayer, Beach, Warlord, and Virgin Steel, and maybe Snow White. But all the rest remained, obscure, I would say. So this doesn't mean that it's a bad one. I mean, this is still part 3, so you have to still love it. Yeah, and part 4, of course, with Sacred Blade. I am the ADN. They sound more heavy than on the album they made on Black Dragon a little later. Death Dealer. They became Death Dealer. The beer exploded. Trouble, of course. Scepter. Scepter is, parts of... this is a really crazy story. Abattoirs on that, with John Cyrus on vocals. And then we have Scepter with a later Agent Steel song, Taken by Force. So it's all a little weird here, what's going on this one. So, Zoetrop or Etrop or whatever you call these guys. Speed Zone, one of my favorite tracks from this band. It should have been on the first album. I have no clue why they didn't put it on their first album. Warcry is cool. Medieval, I love it. Ambush Brothers. Really weird, basic, stoned. Something. Thrust, of course. Yeah, Destructor. Completely written wrong, Destructor. I have no clue why. August Red Moon, Fear No Evil. That's the secret hit on this one. Lizzy Borden, Rod of Iron. You Need That. One of my favorite tracks from Lizzy Borden, which was later also on the album Love You to Pieces. And Witch Slayer, which is okay too. Yeah, and it goes on and on and on. Yo, that's the same one. That's the original pressing, and what we just saw here is... that's the German pressing. The German pressing. Then we have... it goes on. And this is maybe the more famous with bands who really made it big. Metal Church. Yeah, there's so much going on this one. I just want to show them off from here on. Here's the same one, but as a German test pressing from Steamhammer. They were licensing parts of that Metal Massacre series. Then the show goes on here. Yeah, number 7. I had that on CD for years only, and I bought that also more recently. This was the last one that I really enjoy listening all through, and one of my favorite tracks from this whole series on that, a band called Titanic, with the song The Awakening. I love that. I just bought, finally, because I sold some stuff on Discogs, so I was able to buy some stuff at Discogs without touching my private money, and I bought this self-produced album from Titanic finally, but it was not that cheap. Yeah, they are on this one. Then Sentinel Beast, Flotsam and Jetsam, Juggernaut, Cryptic Slaughter. I didn't understand Cryptic Slaughter when I heard it here for the first time. Yeah, today, and no joke, even there's cool stuff on these two here, 8 and 9. There's Oliver Magnum. There's Sacred Right. There's a lot of good stuff on these 2 issues of Metal Massacre. Do you say issues? I read that on magazines. Let's say Cat Magazine issue 3. So I thought you can say issues because it's the series. I don't know. Yeah, I love these both. But there was the feeling of these early Metal Massacre, some aesthetics. No video without that word somewhere. They were lost a little. Yeah, the music has changed. Was way more thrash. There was also already some mix of hardcore punk and thrash. This was going on in the later 80s, and it showed also on Metal Massacre. And yeah, the most horrible, I never saw that one on CD. Even there was, I love Confessor, for sure. Nihilist was cool, Slaughter. There was some good stuff on it. But I think I only remember Dan Colette all the time. Oh, with an inner sleeve, not bad for Metal Massacre. Number 10, Dan Colette, because this was an instrumental with trumpet, really funky. Yeah, this was when I thought, oh my god, this is not cool. Yeah, and the rest is more or less thrash, because that was, yeah, those were the days. Okay, the other thing I could show off is, you know, all know that I have 2 copies, one on the wall and one here in my collection. The multicolored Steamhammer box set with the 4 of the Metal Massacres. This is the yellow one, but I don't want to get them out all here. But here you can see the content. Yeah, I think they even did double LP with speed kills back then. So they were really open for compilation albums. Thank you for that. Yeah, that's it. That's the vinyl side of Metal Massacre. I have all the CDs that were available. 89 was one CD, I remember. And I have a Japanese best of that was weird too. But what I don't have is that huge box set. I missed that, and now I'm not ready to pay the price for it. So yeah, this is really, really, really interesting and important heavy metal history. There were even some non-US bands on it. I remember Hellhammer from Switzerland and Marcha from the Netherlands. So yeah, there were some surprises. Yeah, I hope you liked that one. I will go on drinking this weird beer, La Trappe. And maybe we'll listen to Metal Massacre 8 and 9 now. For the first time on vinyl for me after having the CD for many, many, many years now. Hope to see you soon again with a beer and some metal.